Hello everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar, Helping Higher Ed Students with Access to Accessible Course Material during the COVID-19 crisis. We have many people joining for today's webinar, which at this time is directly relevant to the US, Canada, the UK and Ireland. The webinars in later weeks will relate to other parts of the world as well. And at the last count, there are people from 38 countries signed up to our webinar announcements. My name is Richard Orme and I work at the DAISY Consortium and I'm your host today. Before we hand over to our speakers, I'd like to cover a few housekeeping topics. Today's webinar is being recorded and we'll post a link on the webinar webpage to the video in the next few days. We'll welcome you to revisit the content and share it with your colleagues. We'll also post the slide deck and any resources that are provided to us by the presenters. We also invite your comments and questions, so please use the Q&A feature for this. If you think of a question for the speakers at any point, just type it in there and we'll cover as many as we can in the discussion portion after the presentations. Live captioning is provided for today's session. If you're using a computer, then the recommended way to view these is using the link daisy.org/webinarcc. Alternatively, you can click on the CC button in the Zoom controls. I'm delighted to welcome our speakers today, who are Erin Lucas from RedShelf, Rick Johnson and Stacey Ray from VitalSource. Our speakers will introduce themselves when they start their presentations. So today's webinar will explore two innovative programs established by the industry to provide students with accessible digital course materials whilst they're unable to attend their institutions and they're separated from their physical curriculum assets. So I'm going to hand the floor over to the first of our speakers, Erin.
Thank you, Richard. Welcome everybody to our webinar today. Just a quick note about myself, quick introduction. I'm Erin Lucas. I am the Senior Director of Digital Accessibility for RedShelf. And my primary focus is on making sure that we are using an accessibility first mindset in terms of developing our products and our development process. As well as working with our campus partners to make sure that they are adopting the most accessible materials possible. So why don't we dig into what Richard was mentioning with regards to the programs available for students during this time. So the RedShelf program is called RedShelf Responds. Just a little bit of background on what led us to this program. It's really mostly about our mission that we can use technology to help education change the world. We really are focused on accessible and affordable impact for students, as well as being financially sustainable for educators and content creators. And the bottom line is we really believe in doing well by doing good. And we realize the need for a program like this, as again, students have been separated from their materials. It's a pretty confusing time for everybody. So being able to, offer this program is something that really was important to us. So let's just walk through a few steps on how you can actually access the program and what's available. So again, providing students that simple access during complicated times to their textbooks means that we are able to offer 7 no-cost e-textbooks through May 25th at responds.redshelf.com. So we have worked with over 100 publishers to provide more than 300,000 titles to students. This applies to students who are enrolled in nonprofit semester-based institutions available in the United States and Canada, but does require a valid student.edu email address. So the first step in accessing RedShelf Responds is navigating to that web address, responds.redshelf.com. And on this page, not only are you able to log in, but you can look at additional information about the program should you have any questions. So the first step for a student would be going to that login and then either logging in with an existing account, because this isn't just for new students, it's for all of the students that we currently work with. So you can log in with your .edu account or create a new one if you are new to RedShelf. And then once you are logged in, you can search for a book and then click on the view details or navigate to the view details page to confirm that it is, the edition that you're looking for, etc. And then once you've confirmed that, you can add the book to your My Shelf page in your account. Doing that will redirect you to your My Shelf page, and you'll get a notification that the book is being processed and added to your shelf. From My Shelf, simply have to start reading the book from the detail view in your My Shelf page, and that will launch you into the RedShelf eReader in your browser. So a little bit of background about our reading system if you've never used it. We are a browser-based reading system that provides enhanced teaching and learning experiences for students. We have features such as highlighting and taking notes. You're also able to share those notes with your classmates. You can do definitions for unfamiliar words and create flashcards while you're reading. You can also build your own study guides. You can review those and be able to prepare for tests. You can print pages and go offline when you need to. You can also have the text read aloud and generate citations. And then we also have other features that allow students to engage with their materials through discussions and questions and quizzes. In terms of our accessibility tools, we have a number of tools available on our e-reading platform. Our most popular tool by far is certainly text-to-speech, and it does allow you to adjust the voice and the speed of the read aloud to you. We also have keyboard shortcuts that allow you to navigate around inside the book without using a mouse. We are screen reader friendly. We work with all of the standard tools that you would expect, JAWS, NVDA, VoiceOver, and Narrator. We also, because we are a browser-based e-reader, work with the Kurzweil Read the Web plugin for Chrome. That's important for campuses that are using Kurzweil. If a student has their login for Kurzweil, they can use that feature to interact with RedShelf. And while we are currently in the process of releasing a whole new suite of tools around visual adjustments within the book, while we are finishing development on those features, we are recommending a plugin called Care Your Eyes. It's one that we've been testing with a number of students and has helped us really refine the process for visual adjustments within the platform. So it's one that we recommend quite often. So the other thing that we still continue to offer during this period is support for accommodations and sampling. So our accessibility team can help you if you need accommodations, via the standard process that we've always had. Typically that takes 24 hours or less. And all you have to do is send an email to accessibility@redshelf.com and we can help you with those requests. And it's important to note that if a student should come to us via this process, we will make sure that we are looping in accessibility offices into those requests so everyone is in the know and we are providing the files to the appropriate person on campus. So if for some reason they're looking for a title or if the accommodations version of the file is not available, we will work with the publishers to provide that and follow up to make sure that that request was fulfilled if it has to go through the publisher directly. And of course, we're also offering continued support for faculty and accessibility offices for sample requests. If you are concerned that you have a student who wants to take advantage of this program, but you'd like to either check out the platform first or review the materials to make sure that they are accessible, we're more than happy to set that up. Again, you can request that via accessibility@redshelf.com. So we also encourage student and faculty communication for this program. We have a lot of our bookstores who are sharing it on their websites, including it into newsletters, and providing additional details about how students can gain access through via social media. The best resource for support in these areas to give you some tips about communicating and help if you need it is our Solve website. So that's solve.redshelf.com. And we also have a number of resources available to you for RedShelf Responds. If you'd like to learn more about the program, again, you can go to about.redshelf.com/RedShelf Responds. More information about how a student actually gets access is at responds.redshelf.com. And then, of course, solve.redshelf.com has resources available for this program, as well as any other question that could possibly be answered is probably covered on our Solve site. Again, thank you for attending today. And if you have any questions about the RedShelf Response program, or if you'd like to submit any kind of accommodations request or sample request, you can also reach out to me directly. And my email is erin.lucas@redshelf.com. And at this point, I will hand it off to Rick Johnson at VitalSource.
Erin, this is Richard. Just before you do
Yes.
that, there's actually some questions that have come in, and I think we have a little bit of time. So
okay, great.
Rick can get himself ready. So a few people have asked, what about the requirement for a .edu suffix? Not everyone has that. It could be students who are studying in Canada at private universities. How does that work?
So this is for as long as if the private institution is not a profit-based institution, we can work around that. And I think that if anyone has questions about the actual .edu email address, maybe it would be good to send me your questions so that I can forward them on to the right folks who can help you with that on our development side. But we can certainly work with you to help you get access.
Great. So that would apply if someone is using a Google type way of their students accessing it. Same question would come that route as well.
Right, exactly. And so we're handling most of those things on a case-by-case basis, rather than just opening it up to everyone. So we can certainly get everyone pointed in the right direction there.
Thank you for your answer to that. I have a couple more that are RedShelf specific questions. So
Sure.
One is, does RedShelf work with the Read and Write Chrome plugin?
It does work with the Read and Write Chrome plugin.
Thank you. And then the next question was, RedShelf, how is it in terms of accessibility, specifically in respect of alt text descriptions for images, graphs, and so on?
Right, so we do run all of the content that comes to us through various checks for accessibility. However, there will be times when potentially the publisher has not included all of the correct things that they should, or maybe the alt tags are not as robust as they need to be in the content. We encourage you to reach out to us if you find that, and we will make sure that we're communicating that back to the publisher. One of the tools that we find helpful for our accessibility offices within the reader is collaboration. So we will often have an accessibility office make annotations, or even in some cases alt text where the alt text is not as robust as it should be for students, and then they share that collaboration session with their students so that that information appears to them in the reader. So it's one way to sort of bypass while you maybe wait for a publisher to make changes to their content.
Erin, can you tell us, has RedShelf been audited to comply with WCAG 2, maybe to AA, single A?
Yes, we have. We do have a VPAT, as well as the epubtest.org folks at DAISY have also evaluated our reading system for compliance.
Wonderful. And then maybe one more question before we hand on to Rick, and then there will be time at the end to pick up any questions that we haven't covered. So a question from Christine is that their school follows trimesters and doesn't finish until June 12. Could the service be extended to then? What does that flexibility look like?
I think, we are starting to get some of those questions, especially I think from our Canadian folks who are trying to get access. So I would route those questions to me, and then I will make sure that they get to the folks who are in charge of the program itself to handle those requests.
Erin, thank you so much for the time being.
You're
We'll hear
welcome.
from you again a little later. Rudely interrupted, but now your moment is here. Over to you, Rick.
Thank you very much. And good morning to those of you joining me in the US, and good afternoon to those of you joining me on the other side of the pond. I see a lot of familiar names in the attendee list, and it's good to be talking with you all again. I'm Rick Johnson. I'm one of the co-founders of VitalSource and in charge of our product strategy, and delighted to be talking with you again today, excuse me, about what we're doing around accessibility, and specifically what we're doing in helping to address this crisis that is so unexpected and unprecedented for so many of us. Erin has done a good job of discussing how the publishers are supporting this program and really providing access to their lists of content, and we have seen a tremendous response in hundreds of thousands of users, tens of thousands of institutions being able to take advantage of these very generous capabilities that the publishers are providing to provide access to the content. VitalSource Helps is the program that we have rolled out in order to support that, and it provides really the ability to get access to that content for those learners who've been separated from it. We are a global company. We provide access to this in the US, Canada, in the UK, in Ireland, and we are working with publishers and rolling out other countries as need be, depending on their terms, in terms of what's happening at the schools there. So if you are in a situation in one of the other countries, please get in touch with us and let's talk about what we can do to help you as we work with learners around the globe. Especially important as we work with content and learners in this really unexpected time is, of course, the unpredictable ability to access content and access even just basic services as students are moving around from dorms back to homes, back to other places, and needing to get access to their content, either online or in many cases needing to download it and get access to it offline. And so we wanted to be able to talk to you today about how we're supporting those learners, how we're giving them really that simple access, that reliable access, offline, and of course accessible access in that content. The VitalSource Helps program is a easy to use, log in with your EDU address as you've already heard us discussing. Go to bookshelf.vitalsource.com, sign in with the content, or sign in with your existing or making a new account, and it drops you right into the search page to say, what books are you looking for? What books do you need access to? And you can search in whatever ways you would want to, whether it's by author, by title, by ISBN, by subject matter. You can even search within the content of the book to try to find the book that you're looking for, the book that you need access to. And of course, in the lower right corner, then you can also download the apps and get that offline access as you need to take it into the different environments that you're working with now outside of the campuses. The different students and the different capabilities that are needed here, we try to accommodate as well. And so I wanted to make sure that we talk to you about the accessibility features once you're in here, and the accessibility features of even gaining access to this as well. So I've asked Stacy Ray, our product manager for our bookshelf clients, to join me on this call and really walk you through those features. And so I'm going to stop now and hand it off to Stacy to really showcase what we're doing in that area.
Thanks, Rick. As Rick said, my name is Stacy Ray, and I am a senior product manager at VitalSource for Bookshelf. VitalSource has had a long-standing commitment to accessibility. We work really hard to ensure that our products are designed from the beginning with accessibility in mind. We support most assistive technology platforms, or at least the popular ones, including JAWS, NVDA, Narrator on Windows, TalkBack on Android, and VoiceOver for Mac and iOS. So I am going to share with you very quickly a demo of VitalSource Helps on Bookshelf Mac platform version 9.1 using VoiceOver. It's a mouthful there. So
VitalSource Book Shelf release. Book Shelf window has keyboard focus. You are left same heading main. Explore. VitalSource Helps. We're really glad you're here. Explore an expansive catalog of e-texts from participating publishers from May 25th, 2008. Restrict 2 items. Top pick for you. Get ahead. 2 items. The Purge. Royal Courts of the Ancient Maya. Burn and Living Physiology. Updated. Calculus Early Transcendentals. Enhanced. Questioning Numbers. How to Read and Critique Research. Crime Scene Investigation. We're currently on heading level 3. Continue reading. Borrow. You are loan ends in 5/25/2020. Book details. You are currently on the button. To click this button, press Control Option Space.
So you'll notice that I was already on the Explore tab, which is where you'll go to find all of your VitalSource Helps books. Here you can navigate. You can go through all of your books. You can search by ISBN, author, or title, and even keyword.
Crime Scene Investigation. Web dialog closed. We're currently on the button inside of the web dialog. To click this, Crime Scene Investigation. Continue reading. Close panel. You are currently on the button inside of the web dialog. To click this button, press Control Option Space. To exit this, press Details main. You form control menu.
So if I don't find what I'm looking for here, I can search by title, keyword, author, and ISBN, as I said. And when I find the book that I want, I can navigate to the borrow button and borrow the book.
Search blank. Search text field. Search blank. Search text field. Search. You are A-Y-S-I. Search. You are current misspelled. Pfizy. O-L-O-G-Y. Book matches. Physiology. You are currently on heading level 3. Continue reading. Borrow. You are currently on the button. To click this button, press Control Option Space. Physiology. Web dialog closed. Work. Physiology. Continue reading. Close panel. Physiology. Linda Costanzo. Available. Mandate. 5/borrow. You are currently on the button inside of the web dialog. To click this button, press Control Option Space. To exit this group, Control Option Shift up arrow. Press borrow. Alert dialog. No. No. You links to a book that hasn't been saved to the device. Download now. No. Yes. Yes. Download the book. Book shelf.
At this point, my book, I've borrowed the book from VitalSource Helps, and it is now in my library, downloaded to my Mac platform. So I'm going to just jump back here to the presentation. So before I jump into some additional accessibility demos that we have planned, I want to take a minute and make sure everyone is familiar with Bookshelf. Bookshelf is more than just an e-reader. It is really a digital learning platform. Now we support all major platforms. We have online browser-based, as well as our native apps, including iOS, Android, Mac, Windows, Chromebooks, and Fire-based tablets. So pretty much whichever device you prefer to read on, we've got you covered. A great thing about our native apps is that they are 100% offline access. So once a student downloads a title, they can access the entire book even without an internet connection. And I know in this day and age, you know, our internet connections are really being tested to their maximum as we're all, you know, going online to do all of our work. We've also got a number of built-in study tools that really provide a rich learning experience for users. We can highlight and take notes within the platform. We have flashcards, so students can create and study flashcards. They can make bookmarks to quickly move throughout their book. They can define terms that they're unfamiliar with, and if they'd like, look those up in Wikipedia. And then finally, we have 2 more instructor-based features. We've got review mode, which is a study guide option for students, where students can actually create a 1-page document of all their highlights and notes. And then the assignments feature is something that an instructor can use in order to create a focused reading assignment in a particular book in Bookshelf. So now I'm going to talk about a few additional accessibility demos. We're going to look at screen reader support within the reader. and really make sure that you have an understanding of how accessible the bookshelf application is. Then we're going to talk through some visual adjustments, read aloud, and side loading, which is a great option if you have an unprotected EPUB. And finally, if we have enough time, I'll go through and talk about some rich learning tools. So I'm gonna. This is, again, I'm on my library screen. You can see that my book is front and center, and I'm going to go ahead and play.
No, tab bar, 1 tabs. VitalSource Bookshelf Quick Release. Bookshelf window has keyboard focus. You are last same heading main. Explore. VitalSource Helps. We're really glad you're here. Explore an expansive catalog of e-texts from participating publishers for me. Continue reading. Click We've added digital modeling. Tab 2 of 2 selected. You are currently on a tab inside of a tab group. To click this button, press Control Option Space. Out of tab bar, 2 tabs. Shop now. You are currently on the button Book Reader Tools. You are currently on the group. To Book Reader Tools. 6 items. Close brick panel. Table of Contents panel. You are currently on the press close Table of Contents. Table of Contents.
Now you can see I'm navigating through the table of contents. If I want, I can navigate through any of the reader panels available, including the notebook and bookmarks. Once I'm in the table of contents, I'm going to locate a chapter that I'm interested in and then navigate to that place in the book.
Panel. You are currently on a text element inside of a group. To exit this group, Control Option Shift up arrow. Show search history. You are currently on the button inside of a group. To click this button, press Search Table of Contents. Blank. Search text field. Search Table of Contents. Scroll area. You are currently on a scroll area inside of a group. To begin interacting with the contents of this scroll area, press Control Option Shift down arrow. To exit this group, press Control Option Shift up arrow. In table of contents, 29 items. Digital modeling. Title page. Note copyright page. Praise for digital modeling. Image credits. Dedications page. Author acknowledgements. About the author. About the technical reviewer. Table of contents. Forward. Go to forward. You are Chapter 1. Introduction. Go to Chapter 1. Introduction. Chapter 1. Introduction. Book Reader Tools. You are current. To interact with items in the group, press Control Option Shift down arrow. Previous chapter. You are currently on the button. To click this button.
So once I'm in the reader, I can then navigate through the text using all of the common voiceover commands. I can move between headings and links and navigate around tables.
Control Option Space. Chapter 1. Introduction. You are currently on web content. To enter the web area, press Control Option Shift down arrow. In Chapter 1. Introduction. Chapter 1. Introduction. In Chapter 1. Introduction. Image. You are currently on image. Over the past 20 years, I've worked in various roles as an artist, from digital designer and illustrator to jobs in all forms of production. Only one area has been more rewarding to me than digital modeling, and that is teaching. The information in this book is a combination of what I have learned during my career, and now I would like to share.
Well, that's enough of that.
Continue reading.
So VitalSource Bookshelf is extremely accessible in the eReader. And so now we're going to navigate to some tools that we have available for low vision students. Oops, it froze in just a second. Apologize. Did I mention that the internet connections are being a little stressed these days? So I just had a little freeze there. So next we're going to take a look at some tools that low vision students can utilize to make visual adjustments in their EPUB. There's no need for them to rip apart the book or make special copies. You can simply do it all in the app. Again, I'm going to demonstrate using an EPUB with the same version of Bookshelf Mac. I've already logged into Bookshelf and I'm on the library screen, which is where you'll find all of the titles in your license. Students can license titles from a number of sources, including VitalSource Helps, the VitalSource Store, and institution inclusive access programs. So a lot of different ways that you can actually get your books into Bookshelf. At the top of the screen, front and center, is your most recently read book, making it easy to pick up right where you left off. I've selected this Thinking Through Sources for Ways of the World book, which is a really nice book because it's born accessible, meaning that it can take advantage of all of the reader EPUB tools that are available. And so once I'm in the reader, I'm going to navigate to our content controls at the bottom of the panel with the AA icon. And if my book has some text that is really just too small for me, I can adjust the font size and make it larger. You'll notice that the text reflows very nicely on the screen. It doesn't fall off and cause me to have to pan and zoom. Another nice, really good feature about the text controls is that they automatically resize with the tools associated with the EPUB, and it reflows automatically whether I am on a laptop or smartphone, and it doesn't require me to pan back and forth to read the text. So this is again a really nice book. But I think that I can maybe benefit from changing the margins a little bit. And you see how that reflows? Now I'm going to increase the size back. And then I'm going to take a look at some more controls within the content controls. Sometimes readers with low vision benefit from different combinations of background colors. Bookshelf has 4 background options, including cyan, sepia, and night mode. And the choice of font can also make a big difference to reading speed and comprehension. And so we've got several different options within the reader. This particular one that I've chosen here is Open Dyslexics, which is supposed to help readers with dyslexia really avoid some of the common challenges that they have with reading. Another great feature for users with low vision is our Read Aloud tool. Read Aloud can be really useful to increase your reading speed and comprehension, and even reduce eye strain. So let's take a look at Read Aloud. If I just navigate down to the speaker icon at the bottom of the screen.
Source 1.2 Paleolithic rock art.
You can see that the words are highlighted. I'm going to pause that for 1 second. The words are highlighted as they're being read so that the user can follow along with them. I can also use Read Aloud controls to skip ahead or to skip back in the book. And finally, I can change the reading voice and speed. So this is super fast now.
Archaeologists and others provide yet another point of entry into the history of non-literate peoples.
And then super easy to change the reading speed.
Paleolithic art is found in many places, but perhaps the most well-known example comes from the...
You can choose a voice that you prefer. Earlier I mentioned a couple ways that you can add a book to your book license. If you have an EPUB that is unprotected or DRM free, you can launch it in Bookshelf and enjoy all of our accessibility support that I've just demoed. I'm going to download, or I've already downloaded a file to my Mac, and now I'm going to double click it. You can use also any file sharing software that you prefer. But I just downloaded it to the Mac to make it a little bit easier. So all I'm going to do is double click this file once I've downloaded it, and it is going to open in Bookshelf. Really nice thing then is that the table of contents and search work perfectly fine. So you can navigate through the book, do a book search. You can take advantage of all of the content controls that we just talked about to make visual adjustments. So this book had some font that was not really well spaced. So I'm going to make that adjustment just to make it a little bit easier for me to read. And finally, here's my search. So all of those rich tools that are available in Bookshelf are available when the user sideloads an EPUB. Now, because the file is saved locally, there are some features that aren't supported, like highlights and notes. Those require us to sync on a database, and we're just not able to, obviously, if you've got the file on your local machine, we're not able to sync it to the database. So it looks like we might have enough time for one more share. Within Bookshelf, we've got some, also I mentioned, some really rich learning tools, and this really helps engage the student with the material so that they are you know, really getting the most out of their study experience. So here, I've got, again, an EPUB. I'm going to use the Go to Page button at the bottom of the screen to skip down to the bottom of the, or skip to another page in the book. I'm going to make a really quick highlight and a note. I'm going to use a bookmark to go to a specific location in the book, open my figures panel, select a figures, navigate to that book in the, to that page in the book, and then I'm going to increase the size that I can, so that I can see that figure. And finally, with this figure, if I'd like, I can make a flashcard. And study those. I've only got a couple cards here, so it'll go real quick. So again, really rich learning tools that users can share and or that users can engage with in their tool to get the most out of their learning experience. So that's all we had to show for you today. You know, if you have any questions concerning the VitalSource Helps program or Bookshelf in general, you can certainly reach out to Rick Johnson or myself. Rick Johnson can be reached at rick.johnson@vitalsource.com, and myself, I can be reached at stacy.ray@vitalsource.com.
Lots of information there. Thank you so much, Rick and Stacey, and lots of questions too. So Madeline had a question which was, does VitalSource Bookshelf work with Read and Write Gold?
It does not at this time.
Okay. And when you were doing the demonstration, I think on the Mac, when you were using VoiceOver, navigating through the book and through the website and so on, that speech was really fast. Can that be slowed down?
Yes, yes. While that speech seemed really fast, I think for users that are really used to using assistive technology, when I'm on conference calls with people, theirs is much faster than this. I am surprised at how quickly, how well they can hear the information and absorb it as fast as it goes. So yeah, you can definitely change that speed.
One thing I would add to that, Richard, just jumping in here, this is Rick, is we do support all of the assistive technologies that Stacey talked about earlier, JAWS, NVDA, VoiceOver, TalkBack, Narrator, whatever those tools are and the feature sets within those for adjusting voices, for adjusting speeds, we fully support all those. For reading alt text, all of that is we make completely available through the Bookshelf interface. And then in addition, the tools that Stacey highlighted, such as our own Read Aloud and the other tools, also have other features and adjustments in those too. So completely supporting in both cases.
Thank you. Peter pointed out that almost all learning that happens in prisons have to happen offline. And staff can go online, but it's more tricky for the inmates. So the ability to download the content and read it offline is very interesting. So the question from Peter is, have you provided your product to a prison environment?
We do have a number of institutions that we do have product in. I would encourage them to send us an email. We'll hook them up with the right partner and the right part of the company to talk to them about that opportunity.
And I think really maybe we'll do a recap with Erin as well, but some kind of questions around the eligibility of, is this program available for students both with and without disabilities? And could you remind again about the length of time? How long will this program be running?
I'll start there. Erin, feel free to add anything. There's a couple of different factors that are involved here. The publishers, depending on the geographic area and when school terms start and stop traditionally, have defined the dates. That's why you see there are slightly different dates for US versus Canada versus Ireland and the UK. As we get closer to the end of those standard dates, we recognize that there are exceptions. And as Erin mentioned, both companies are handling those exceptions. So please get in touch with us. And the same with students who don't have institution given email addresses. Both companies have ways of accommodating that. So just reach out and get in touch with us.
Right, agreed. And our platforms, neither platform is simply just for students with disabilities. So any student can take advantage.
Stacey, we had a question which was, this is from Jim, would your reader read the image text? I'm assuming this is for read aloud, but maybe you would cover both read aloud and the screen reader. So the same question that Erin had, what about alt text of images and figures and so on?
Yes, yes. So if the EPUB is built with support with alt text for the images and includes figures, then yes, the Bookshelf app will read those appropriately. Read aloud does not read the alt text in the image. So read aloud is really a nice complement to the written word on the screen. But it's not a replacement for assistive technology.
Agreed. Same on the RedShelf platform.
So a question from Candace, which was that Bookshelf maybe is connected to Microsoft OneNote. Is that available only to those folk with PCs running Windows?
Yeah, so you can actually export your notes to OneNote with the VitalSource Bookshelf online platform, and it is available for systems that have OneNote.
That would be Mac and Windows, yeah. And actually mobile platforms too. So you can get, once you get it into your OneNote account, you can use it wherever OneNote is, yeah.
Jim came back on the question where you were asked whether you support Read and Write Gold. Jim's question is, will you support Read and Write in the future?
At this time, it's not on our roadmap, but we're also always investigating, new technologies, plugins, et cetera, that may work well with our app. So I wouldn't rule that out, but it's not on our roadmap at this time.
And a similar question from Paul, it's come up a few times from some questions. Why do you not support Read and Write or Kurzweil? And so maybe Erin and Stacey and Rick, maybe you'd like to talk around this issue a little bit.
So one of the, just as from a systems technology point of view, one of the things you need to understand with assistive technology is you've got several different actors who are having to work in concert together here. Obviously, the book content needs to be marked up well. The reading system, whether it's RedShelf or VitalSource, needs to honor that and work with that. You have things that are happening in the operating system that are being allowed there. And then you have the assistive technology that's working and is taking advantage of, or not taking advantage of, some of those features. And as the open web platform has evolved over the last several years, and as different standards have emerged on how to approach and how to integrate these things in an accessible way, we're finding at VitalSource, at least, I'll let Erin speak from RedShelf's perspective, that, and we have had many in-depth conversations with not just Kurzweil and not just ReadWrite, but a number of other assistive technologies that are out there about how can we make these systems work together well. And many of these systems are depending on software, I hate just ways of working around the system to try to get access to the content that aren't calling the standard APIs that the operating systems provide, or aren't doing things in a way that the open web platform supports. So it makes it hard for us as vendors to provide access to those. And so We try to work with them on a one-off basis. We continue to have those conversations. I would ask you, as the audience out there who sees the benefits to these assistive technologies and wants to use them, to please lobby those partners to work with not just VitalSource, but VitalSource and RedShelf and the other reading systems out there to find a way to come together and to do that. That would help us tremendously.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think that, you know, it's important to note that not only RedShelf, but VitalSource, we work directly with Daisy and other organizations to try to find, you know, new standards, new ways of doing things, new ways of integrating tools into our products. And those kinds of collaborations are really leading to a lot of advancements with the tools that we can put into our systems. So, you know, it's changing all the time. It's in just the 3 years that I've been with RedShelf, there's been a huge change in trying to adapt to what assistive technologies are doing and how we can work those things into our systems. And I think, you know, with the introduction of better ways to create more accessible content like Word to EPUB, that's only going to get better. And like Rick said, all of us working together on this is really the only way to make it successful.
Thank you all for those answers. So we focused quite a lot in your presentations on access for folk with visual impairments and reading challenges such as dyslexia. Could you both please speak to the topic of students with dexterity challenges and maybe using voice recognition software? This is a question from Gary.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, so, go ahead, Stacey.
No, I was just going to say that's a really great question. It's not something that we have experimented with at this time, but I think that, you know, as technology evolves, as our systems and capabilities evolve, that's something that definitely can be of interest. I haven't used that. I haven't done any R&D around that for Bookshelf, to be honest.
I would just add in, we depend a lot on the host operating system in those particular areas. How do they interface with the tools that those users need? How do they provide access to things like voice control? And we would leverage what Apple and what Microsoft and what Google are doing with Android to the extent that they allow us. You're not going to see us do a lot of innovation there. You're going to see us do a lot of adoption as they roll out support in those platforms.
Yeah, agreed. And you know, our development teams are especially interested in things like this. We include the idea of somehow engaging with things like switches and other different types of assistive technology for those kinds of concerns. When we do our onboarding, we have some discussion around that. We've actually had a couple of schools reach out to us about it. So it's something that is on our radar, something that we'd like to be able to accomplish, but you know, it can be challenging. And again, one of those other things that we can't just accomplish on our own.
Richard, can I jump in here? I've seen a number of questions on the QA channel come up that mentioned what is often a evil word, DRM. And I just would like to take this opportunity to talk about DRM as it comes up with accessibility, and that this is the beauty and the benefits of vendors such as you have here in front of you on the panel today, adopting standards and of people using standards, and that we can, as vendors, provide security that our publishing partners are demanding and want, but yet we can open up our applications through these standards so that assistive technology can give you full access to the content, full access to the navigation, to the alt text, to the different markup that's in there. And I've been in this industry now for more than 20 years. For more than 20 years, I have heard, rightly so, users out there crying, why aren't publishers doing the right thing? And they're now doing the right thing. We're getting born accessible content. We're getting born digital content. We're getting systems that are adopting standards. And so things like DRM aren't the problem that they used to be. And it can be somewhat of a distraction as well. So when you have the ability to sideload, such as with Bookshelf, content that you may have that's in the clear, or use content that publishers have chosen to protect through one of the vendors that are bringing to the market, you shouldn't have to worry about accessibility. You should make sure that accessibility is provided in those cases, that you don't need to worry about it.
Thank you, Rick. So that maybe addresses the question from Eric, which is, for those EPUBs that are encrypted, does the Bookshelf work at all? I think I think you just got that there, did you?
Yep.
Perfect. I'm going to try and combine a couple of questions in one here, which is we had the question that folk have tried out text-to-speech. I'm not sure which platform this was, and it didn't seem to be available in all titles. So could you clarify whether text-to-speech read aloud is available across all the titles on both of these platforms? And then extending that question, is there an opportunity for maybe DSO colleagues, librarians, to check out a title to evaluate its accessibility before it gets to the student?
Those are great questions.
Sure. Yeah, I get a number of questions about this, you know, from our students, and we do have some titles that it seems to be a thing where they're kind of digging deep into the repository and finding some of our titles that have to be reprocessed to add text to speech. We do offer that on all of our books, but if there's an occasion where it doesn't appear to be available in the tool, it literally takes 45 minutes to an hour for us to reprocess the book, and then it is available.
I can say from the bookshelf side, 100% of our titles would support text-to-speech. It would get rejected at import if it didn't. And in terms of providing access to disability services offices, absolutely.
Yeah.
You guys need to be able to get access to that content so that you can service your students. And I know that both of our companies have put in place programs to give you that access.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and so if I could just add on to that, Rick, just for a second. Text to speech, we utilize the voices available in your operating system. So some operating systems allow you to download additional voices so that you can choose a voice of your liking. Definitely that you know, is a feature that is very well received. As far as being able to provide access to DSOs to check out a title, you can do that by emailing us at accessibility@vitalsource.com and just provide, you know, your information as well as the title that you're requesting access to, and we will get you that access.
Yep. Same with RedShelf, accessibility@redshelf.com.
Thank you both on that. So you've explained that it's possible to get hold of sample content if you want to check out the accessibility features of a title, but is it possible to learn about the accessibility of a particular title before you download it?
I love that question, Richard. Thank you.
That was from some chap called George.
We were very excited a year ago to start rolling out what we called our transparency program, which is trying to solve that last mile issue, which is, I can tell you how accessible our products are and how accessible Bookshelf is in 20 years of history of doing this and blah, 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 all of that. But if the content itself doesn't support what you need, you have no way of knowing that ahead of time. So a year ago, we rolled out and were awarded, thank you, Daisy, at the September show, the publishing award for last year. We rolled out in our store the ability for you to look and see what are the claims that publishers are making about a particular title. Have they declared any accessibility? If so, what have they declared? And even more importantly, who's making that declaration? Is it the publisher? Is it the author? Is it a trusted third party like Benetech and their globally certified accessible program? And so you as a consumer can know ahead of time what is the claims of this piece of content.
Great, thank you for that. Question to both of you, do you partner with the Access Text Network?
Yep, we do.
We do too. Access Text is mainly a publisher-run network, but you can do searches on there and you do find results that are in VitalSource catalog as well. So,
yeah, it's important to note, I know that a lot of Follett campuses use ATN. So since we are the eReader for Follett campuses, that, you know, that's a good way for you to find out whether or not a title is on our platform.
Great, well, folk are learning a lot about your platforms, and you've covered a lot of ground in your presentations and the answers. We've got another question here, which is that do your platforms have the same titles? Do they differ in some way in terms of the content?
I think you find that the leading education publishers are pushing their content out to the channels that need it. If you find a difference between us, it's probably something only of timing. I would be surprised if you did. Yeah.
Yeah, same.
Wonderful. So I think maybe you could just finish by summarizing again the timing of these of this offer that's available during this time of the COVID crisis. We've still got some questions here, maybe from folk who joined a little bit later, about the eligibility and how long that runs for, and whether it's available to students who are disabled and non-disabled. So maybe closing comments from each of you to that topic, and then we'll move to the closing slide.
Certainly. The program is intended to solve access for students who are disrupted this term. And so the publishers set up sort of some default term endings. But as you've heard both Aaron and I say, if your school has a different term ending than that, or you need some other accommodation made, get in touch with us, and we have programs to work that out. Your students who have a .edu address should be able to log in and get access to that content. If you aren't doing .edu addresses, get in touch with us, and we have ways of working that out.
Yeah, I would second that entire comment for RedShelf.
Fantastic. There may still be some questions we didn't quite get to. We get a little log at the end of them, and we'll make sure we follow those up. We're coming to the end of this session, so thank you to everyone who joined us for today's webinar. Erin, Rick, Stacey, thank you so much for sharing all of that great information. If you do have additional questions, or you'd like to contact directly with any of our speakers, then you can reach out directly to them using the contact information that they provided. And then coming up in the next couple of weeks, so on April the 8th, we have publishers face off to prove the accessibility of their EPUB. This is on the topic that Rick mentioned about the amazing work that some publishers are doing to make sure that titles that are born digital are born accessible. On April the 15th, we have Create EPUB publications from Microsoft Word. And on April the 22nd, we have Making Math Accessible One Step at a Time. And we have many more webinars lined up for you running on into the future. So do make sure you're signed up and receiving emails from us on our announcements list. Also, you can learn about, as well as learning about new sessions, we'd like to hear your suggestions for any subjects. And indeed, if you have a webinar in you that you'd like to propose, then please email us at webinars@daisy.org. But that's it for today. Thank you so much for your time, and you have a wonderful rest of your day.